What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Really excited to bring a new model to you to review. Let's jump into it. All right, we're looking at a new model from Kansept. This is the Qilin, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's really hard to see. The model is, Qilin. Qilin. I don't know where I got Qilin from. It is the Qilin. Let's get into it, guys. All right, so we have a very interesting mid-tier knife from them. So it looks like tenable is going to be Knights Review 14 C28N, and then if the model jumps up to 154 cm, it looks like those are going to be Kansept. I mentioned in a video that I did not that long ago that I was hoping that tenable wouldn't just use Kansept only designs for their line. I hope they emulate what Simcut does and starts making their own knives. And it looked like when I was on Blade HQ during last week's live stream, they actually had a model that was their own. So that was really cool to see, but we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about the Qilin here today. And as I mentioned, you have 154 cm on a compound ground Tonto blade with a beautiful static wash finish. You got JG10. There are other versions that we'll show off here in just a minute. And this one is hollowed out very nicely for weight reduction. And then you have a fold over steel clip. Not quite sure why the designer wanted to go with the tactical style pocket clip instead of the fold over deep carry clip on this model, because I really feel like this flexes into EDC, but they definitely got a more thick, robust geometry going on this model as well. So it gives a lot of tactical vibes to it. Long, slender knife blade, kind of something like you would see out of an OTF. You know, this just gives me tactical vibes, even though it's a very simple design, right? Nothing aggressive looking in the hand. Having said that, let's really quickly, before we go any further, just check out the model options. What a range here. So everything starts out at 77 bucks, which isn't bad. The JG10, probably my least favorite option up here, to be honest with you guys, and it may help if I share, right? There we go. So starting 76 bucks. Quite a few options out here. I would say that the jade handle is my least favorite. In that $76 range, I would probably up it a little bit and either get the olive green G10 or the black or natural micarta. Those are my favorite of the ones that I see here. And then at 82 with the twilled carbon fiber, full carbon fiber scales too, by the way, is a really nice looking version. Now, I don't know why, again, they just didn't do the fold over clip, because this is a new model, but you know, it is what it is. It's a good price point. All right, let's bring it back to the table. Talk about the cutting a little bit. So, you know, it is a little bit of a thicker geometry. I don't know that I would use this as hard use as it probably is intended for, but it's going to be able to handle a little bit more of the, denser materials that are going to be a little bit harder to cut through. That are going to be a little bit harder on the blade, not to cut through, I should say. So, you know, that's something to take into consideration when you're looking at this one. The 154 cm seems to be treated well. Factory edge went straight through the catalog paper. It went through the cardboard fine. It definitely felt very robust out on the tip when cutting with it. You know, it didn't feel like it had a dainty tip, right? So again, prefacing that this feels like it's a bit of a more hard use knife. Let's see what the lockup is on a liner lock from Kansept, because I think it's been a little while, and we're looking at about 30%. So let's check it out. Yeah, solid lockup. Good lockup geometry on that. Glad to see it. Now on this one, I had a Kansept in here. I think the mistaken. This is the type of flipper tab that I was referring to. If you happen to catch that video, that I like to see. You see, it's got a little bit of jimping on here. So you got plenty of traction for it, and it's a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it is a lower profile flipper tab on there. Now, I don't think I could get to that fuller to reverse flick it. I think my hand's too big, and then the access, because of the cutout for the lock bar, it's not a big cutout, but it is a cutout for that lock bar. It does kind of block it from me getting to it with the right hand. Yeah, and the left hand, just not meant for it, I don't think, at least for me. You can let me know in the comments if you have the Qilin and you were able to get to that fuller to reverse flick it. You can get to it to pinch open, so that is nice, but other than that, I think it's just aesthetic. It is nice that they decided to make this reversible. It is very neutral, so very comfortable in the hand. The pocket clip does ramp up, excuse me, just a little bit. With this style clip, I would probably have said in this instance, a folder of a clip would have been more comfortable, or if you wanted something this long, maybe like the Spyderco style wire pocket clips that come in underneath the screw for the pocket clip, would have worked a little bit better, because it happens to dig into my palm there a little bit when I'm using it, but it's not awful. You got jimping here on the harpoon, so that does help you lock it in place. I got a full 4-finger grip. You got race washers with ceramic bearings on them, so again, more of a shaker than you may see with other brands, but it does help you control that. And the pockets are designed to help take some of the resistance from closing on the blade off by having that race washer, the race washer, free for the ball to spin freely on. But I've always found that they actually feel like they actually create more resistance than you see from other ones. And then you have these pockets that you could potentially have dirt, dust, and debris settle in, that is going to gum it up a little bit more, but honestly, it's not really going to be that bad. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons with this one, then we'll score it. So unfortunately, with that pocket clip, I really can't get it to lay flat for the camera, and I wanted you to get a good angle of this one, but it's definitely more full-sized in length, just a very slender knife. Let's go ahead and grab a couple more for size comparison. All right, so I wanted to bring out the CJRB Echo to show you that, this is what I constitute as more like that medium-sized realm, and you can see the Qilin is just ever so slightly bigger, but it is a little bit, actually I'm gonna say it's pretty comparable to the Militaw. So Echo a little bit smaller, Militaw same size. Let's do profile real quick, because with these being full steel liners with contoured scales on top, which is going to be really hard to show you guys with the jade, I'm hoping you can pick that up when you see it on the screen, but it does make it significantly thicker than just titanium scales, no liners. And then the Militaw, a little bit more of a beefier knife, but the Qilin is slightly thicker. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm hoping so. I never can really tell on camera. Let's grab the scale and check the weight on this one. When I'm recording, the screen allows me to see just a little bit, but I can't see to the level of detail on like I can on the final product or when I'm editing. 3.6 ounces. I think that's pretty common for like a mid-grade knife. It's still budget, but there's budget that's like 50 and under, which has a lot of 14C and Nitro V, or actually nowadays it's been more like 60 and under. And then you get these ones that have the 154 cm, which is a bump up in steel, better edge retention, and still tough, but it does cost a little bit more. All right, let's talk about the grade. It is a budget knife. Budget knives are limited at capping at 7 just because of materials. The steel on this does jump it up substantially, but some of the cons on this one are going to pull it back down. So ergonomically, the knife is comfortable. Jimping's in a good spot, and I land in a nice spot where I'm locked in. It's comfortable in hand to use. I do feel that pocket clip stabbing into my hand a little bit there, so I really wish that they could have just, even if they wanted to leave this style, maybe ramp up and then out, maybe flatten it a little bit, would take away some of that discomfort. Jimping on the flipper tab is nice. only one means of deployment, so that could be boring for some. Not everybody's going to really get hung up on that, long as it is good action, which it does have a good detent, and it does have very smooth action on it as well. Just then I wanted to take it and reverse flick it. It's not an end all be all. A little bit of a, this geometry here is good, right? I would say it's like a medium or middle of the road geometry, not super slicey, but not hinderer thick. And then out on the tip, you got a very robust tip, right? So this is definitely going to be meant to throw some stuff at it that's going to be hard, almost like it almost could have just been a true Tonto instead of having belly, no belly, and you could have probably scraped with this. That's really how thick the steel feels out there on the tip. It's super, super thick and strong. I'm hearing myself saying super, and I don't want to mislead anyone, but just to give you an example here, you can see the tip on the Echo nowhere near as thick as the tip on the Qilin, but it's not, again, my intention is not to make it sound like it's hinderer thick. It's really not. All right, so everything that goes into it, as I mentioned, price, materials, build quality, functionality, and just how the knife resonates with me personally compared to other knives that I've seen around this price point. There's a lot here that you can find that Kaiser makes. I think they even have a mini Militaw coming, which is going to be smaller than the full-size Militaw, but I imagine the mini Militaw is going to be around the size of an Echo, so that's going to be a good gent's knife. But this, I don't feel like it's meant to be a gent's knife. I think this is meant to be EDC / work knife, which is perfectly fine. We need those here in the world. Looks nothing offensive here, right? Very simple design. Again, we got that plunge grind that's ending right at the edge termination. I think it's an internal stop pin. So that's good. So you could, yeah, it is internal stop pin. So you could easily just put a little sharpening tool in there if you're capable. And if not, this knife is not super expensive. So if it got a smile, I don't know. Do you care? I don't know that I do. All right, enough procrastinating. I'm going 5.9. I think if they would have sent me one of the other versions, I probably would have scored it a little bit higher. I think the Jade against this beautiful static wash, I don't know if I mentioned that, but Kansept and Kaiser are like top of the game when it comes to static wash. It takes away from it for me a little bit, and that pocket clip, I really just don't love that pocket clip. And it is a little bit thick for an EDC. I would have liked it to be just I mean, it's not awful, guys. It's not awful. So I'm actually just going to take that back as far as it's being too thick. It's fine. It's a good geometry. And again, I think intended to be a little bit more hard use than some of the other knives out here on the market. That's where I'm at with the Qilin. Let me know if you agree or disagree. What version did you like out of the ones that we took a look at earlier? Was it this one or one of the other ones? Just curious. And if not, just say hey, leave a pocket dump. And if there is anything from Kansept you're interested in, I do have an affiliate link with them. So if you do decide to use that to go to purchase, first, thank you. Two, it helps because it lets them know that I'm driving the traffic to them. Thank you for hanging out to this point of the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed on your way out. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and don't forget to turn your notification bell on so you don't miss alerts for future videos. A very special thank you to my channel members. You guys are amazing. I hope each and every one of you have a fantastic week. I love you guys. Catch you on the next one. Peace.